Hey, are you really getting married? That's the rumor I heard. Surely not. At your age?
Weren't you listening at the morning meeting?
That's when everyone else asked me, but when I saw the wedding invitation on my desk, I was so surprised I couldn't help asking you directly to make sure it was for real. I never thought you would be able to tie the knot. That's hilarious.
Hey, is that any way to talk to your boss? Show some respect, will ya? So, where were you this morning then, when the boss announced it to the whole office?
In the toilet? Dunno. Can't remember. I didn't get home until 3 this morning and spent most of the time after that hugging the toilet, if you know what I mean. What a night, though! What I can remember of it is brilliant. He must have announced it before I got there. Or when I was throwing up again.
Gross. This isn't a good look, Noeline. You can't be out partying all night and show up to work in this condition.
Hey now, don't be like that. It's called a tactical vomit. Otherwise, I'd never have been able to eat breakfast. Don't you ever have fun? Or have you forgotten what it's like, Grandma?
I go out with my friends from time to time, and it might surprise you to hear that I have been known to have a glass of wine or two. Just enough for me to feel good.
That's where you're going wrong. You don't want to feel good. You want to feel terrible. I woke up on a bench outside a children's hospital. I felt so sick I thought about checking myself in for the day. I was missing a shoe, but I didn't want to be late for work, so I ran all the way here. Luckily, I made it on time.
You didn't make it here on time. Did you tell the office you were late again?
No need. It was only by about 10 minutes, I think. Nobody noticed.
You still have to report it if you are even a few minutes late. It's company policy. You know how strict the security is here.
All right, calm down. You don't have to lecture me. Jeez. I was feeling horrendous. I was living on borrowed time last night. Borrowed from today. Oh, I think I'm going to be sick again. Anyway, more about this engagement of yours. So, you hadn't given up on marriage altogether?
What's that supposed to mean?
Well, you are 38 after all. I would have thought at that age, you'd have just resigned yourself to living out your days alone as an old maid. Is there really any point getting married at that age? Having kids must be out of the question. Who wants a mom old enough to be their grandmother?
Just what are you implying? Whether I get married or not is my decision. It's a free country, isn't it? What does it have to do with you?
Yeah, nothing to do with me, and you are free to marry whoever and whenever you like. But... I mean, you're getting on in years, so I can't help wondering how old your fiancé is. If he or she is marrying you, he or she must be just as ancient as you, right?
He is 40. Did you really not hear anything from the others? Well, there are accidents too.
Whatever. But hey, Lily, 40? Ew, no way. That's old enough to be a grandfather. Talk about over the hill. When my dad was 40, I was 21. People actually get married at that age, huh? Wow. It really will be a senior wedding. Will the decorations all be gray? Can you even get gray flowers? Hey, you should have the ceremony in the fall so you can throw buckets of fallen leaves instead of confetti. Well, if nothing else, I learned something today. I'll need to have a nap at my desk to sleep off this vicious hangover, so I doubt I'll get much done, but at least I found out that seniors can get married too.
Senior? What the hell do our ages have to do with you?
God, I can't even imagine how boring a senior wedding would be. You'd better have it in the morning so the guests can all make it to the end without falling asleep.
I gave you an invitation for what it's worth. I'll leave it up to you whether you attend or not. If you think it's going to be a boring waste of time, then feel free to decline the invite. We won't be drinking and throwing up until 3 a.m., if that's what you need to have a good time.
Yeah. I'm actually asking because I'm getting married too.
Oh, really? I wasn't aware of that.
Yep. My boyfriend proposed and I said yes. So I've got to have a ceremony too.
Congratulations.
Don't you think the rest of the office would rather come to my wedding? I mean, the age difference alone is a no-brainer. And yes, there will be partying and vomiting until 3 a.m. for those who want it.
What are you getting at?
Well, everyone will be dying to see me in my wedding dress, won't they? I don't think anyone will be all that interested in seeing a woman of your age. Where's the glamour and excitement? I mean, you aren't ugly, not at all. In fact, from a certain angle, some might say you were kinda pretty. Hints of a not unattractive youth still shining through the cracks. But now…
Well, you might be right. You are… how old are you? About 25? You'll look good all done up in a beautiful dress. And the hair and makeup. I just don't see why you need to compare yourself with me. What's the point? Our weddings will be completely different.
I'm just trying to be realistic. If you don't get married in your 20s, this is what happens. You should have done this long ago.
I don't see the problem. I never wanted to get married too young. I was pursuing a career. Now everything has come together and I'm ready. Why would you even bother to have this conversation with me? I don't regret not getting married in my 20s. Why would I? I didn't have any money back then. Life would have been tough. Everyone is different. One of my friends in high school got married to her boyfriend the day after they graduated. She divorced him less than a year later. When the timing is right, you just know.
When the time is right, you'll know. Don't show off and try to make it sound like some romantic fairy tale. You're just getting married late.
I'm just stating facts. I'm not trying to show off. I wasn't ready to get married in my 20s, and now I am. It's as simple as that. Is there any reason for you wanting to compare us? I'll have my wedding my way, and you can do whatever you like with yours. Right?
Yeah, about that. I guess you'll find out on the day of your ceremony.
What does that mean?
You'll find out just how much people value you on the day of your wedding.
You'll find out just how much people value you on the day of your wedding. Is that a saying where you are from? I've never heard it before.
No, it's not a saying. It's something I'm saying. To you. You'll find out your worth to others on your wedding day.
I don't think you can judge what people think of you on just one day. That seems awfully shallow. And anyway, your sense of worth doesn't come from other people. It comes from confidence in yourself. And experience.
That's not up to you to decide, Grandma.
Hi. Did you give out the wedding invitations? Yep, this morning. You? Yeah, me too. Good. So it's really going ahead then. I thought this day would never come. Sorry for making you wait so long. Hey, come on. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm not complaining. I'm just looking forward to finally making it official. I was quite happy to just carry on the way we have been. I don't have a single complaint. It just hasn't sunk in yet that we are actually going to do it. Well, I told you I'd do it properly down on one knee when my situation allowed it. Yeah, you did. I'm grateful you thought the whole thing through. I think we've picked a good time to announce it. I really appreciate your patience. I'll be here for you from now on. You've already done enough. Thank you, Luke. I'm really looking forward to the wedding. Do you think everyone will come? Of course. What possible reason would anyone have to not be at your wedding? How was the reaction of the team in your office? Did they all agree to come? I wonder. There's one who I'm not too sure about. What do you mean? Did someone get on your bad side? Not that I think you have one. Maybe I'm just being paranoid and I don't have any proof, but I get the feeling one of the office girls is planning something.
Good morning, Grandma. Today is the day of your wedding, too, isn't it?
Grandma, you really don't know when you've crossed the line, do you? And yes, today is the day. What do you mean by your wedding, too?
I can't make it. Sorry.
When you didn't reply, I assumed as much. I wished you'd told me directly and a bit sooner, though. Just in case I had a seat for you at our office table, near the bar.
I reckon all of those seats are gonna go to waste.
Why is that? What do you mean?
I doubt anyone will be going to your ceremony. That's what I mean. It's a shame. I know you will have been looking forward to it. But it can't be avoided, can it? I mean, who wants to be seen at the gray wedding anyway?
Hey, give it a rest with the old people jokes, would you? I'm your boss and you should show some respect.
Yes, I see. Surprise! Today is my wedding day too.
What?
So what I've been trying to say is that nobody is going to go to your wedding when given the choice of A, the young couple's wedding, which is guaranteed to be fun, and B, Grandma's wedding, where there will be special parking for mobility scooters and nurses standing by in case anyone's heart stops.
So, you are getting married today too? Did you plan it this way? Force people to choose in the hope that nobody came to mind? Was that your plan?
Now you are starting to get it. When I found out that you were planning to have your wedding on the same day as mine, I knew for sure that people would ditch yours in favor of mine. I wasn't worried at all. I was actually looking forward to it. I mean, I'm not an evil person at heart, but the competition, or lack of it, gave me a little thrill. You'd feel so embarrassed when everyone canceled at the last minute and flocked to my venue. I can't deny I was enjoying the thought of taking you down a peg or two. Always waltzing around the office like the boss of the whole company.
So, you deliberately arranged your wedding to be on the same day to embarrass me? You shouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well, I did. And now no one is going to be at your wedding. What's done is done, so you'll just have to suck it up and say your vows to an empty church.
You're probably right. I'm just wondering though, did everyone actually say that they were going to be at your wedding? I mean, you have assumed that they would all choose you over me, but did you hear them say that? To your face? You think they'll all show up?
Of course they will. What a stupid question. Cool young people like us don't bother with old-fashioned things like invites. How many trees had to be sacrificed so you could have nice invitations? No, I just sent out WhatsApp messages last night. It was sudden, so people haven't replied yet. They'll be busy changing taxi plans and presents and things like that. But they'll all be here.
Well, I've got to admire your confidence.
Sorry our days clashed and left you without any guests. Mine will be here any minute.
Everyone on my guest list is here, except you.
What?
I really don't understand why you were so confident everyone would just suddenly change and go to your wedding, but everyone is here. We're about to start.
How? What? Why?
I've just been told the chapel doors are open and people are moving in from the lobby. I feel a tiny bit guilty, though. I mean, I'm sure that even though most people were happy to accept the invitation, there may have been a few that felt it was an obligation.
What is? Why?
So, you never even read the invitation? So you didn't read the name of the man I'm marrying?
What do you mean?
My fiancé is the president of this company. You really should have taken the time to read the invite. Or perhaps you did read it, but don't even know the name of the president? I'm not sure which is worse. But whichever is the case, both are equally as big a mistake, and in the end, it doesn't really matter, does it?
What? Nobody told me. How was I supposed to know that? And why are you marrying the damn president? Is it the new president?
The one and only.
No! That's not possible. He's the head of the Zurich branch. He's not even in this country. How can you be marrying him?
We managed to stay together even though he was on the other side of the planet. That part actually made it easy to keep our relationship a secret.
No way. You're just saying this to get back at me for taking all your wedding guests, aren't you? I thought you were getting old and starting to panic about being single forever. That's why you decided to marry any old guy that would take you.
We waited while he was posted to the Zurich office, but when we knew Luke would be the next president, we knew he'd be coming back. So we started talking seriously about getting married. So I wasn't ever worried about being single forever, as you imagined. Remember what I said about timing?
Yeah, but why didn't you tell me? You could have said something before I went and made an idiot of myself. You're marrying the president. Of course everyone is going to be there. They'd be too scared not to attend.
True, but I don't think anyone really feels forced. He's a great boss, and I've never heard anyone complain. Remember, No one knew about us. Anyway, everyone is here having a great time. It should be a reception. You are the only one not here, but that doesn't really matter.
Why would you say something like that?
Well, you'll be quitting on Monday, won't you? I mean, that's what you always wanted, right? Get married young and then become a homemaker?
Well, yeah, but I haven't said when I was leaving. I still haven't decided.
Oh, you hadn't? Then that's really not the best attitude to be showing at work, is it? Basically, with a new president to try and impress.
My attitude?
You never take any of my advice. You also never make any attempt to improve yourself. Never come to training sessions, and you're late most days. Did I miss any? Oh, yes. Assuming that people would just not show up to the president's wedding in favor of yours. That's a fatal error.
Wait a moment, So, not a single person from work will be coming here?
I don't know what time your wedding starts, but everyone from the office is here. Right now. I'm looking at them filing into the chapel on the monitor in the bride's waiting room. Even Jimmy from accounts made it, and his mother's funeral was yesterday. Yep, everyone has come.
What about me?
Well, you've got your wedding to attend. You'd be best to focus on that. It's your big day, after all.
That's easy for you to say, but if no one comes, I can't have a ceremony, can I?
Sure you can. People do it all the time.
No, you don't understand. I've only invited people from work.
Well, that was silly. Why'd you go and do that?
The venue can only cater for 50 people, so I only invited the staff. I thought they'd all come.
I don't think people will finish up here and then go there. You don't usually attend 2 weddings on the same day. Has nobody answered your text invite?
Some did. They reacted as if I was joking. Some of them just sent lol and clown emojis. A few eggplants, too. I didn't understand that.
That'll be it. People must have thought you were joking. Who would do something so monumentally stupid as to try and have their wedding when the president and his bride had already sent out invitations? They'd have to be absolutely bonkers.
Oh, so it's true then. No one is coming to my wedding.
Yep. And to think, this whole thing started because you wanted to humiliate me. That backfired spectacularly. I kind of feel sorry for you, but it's beyond my power to fix.
This is all too much to take. Why, oh why didn't you tell me you were marrying the president? You didn't give me the most important piece of information. Now my life is ruined.
That's rubbish. I told everyone at the morning meeting before you launched your crusade to humiliate and belittle me. It's not my fault if you were late and missed the meeting. It shows how little you respect the company if you didn't even bother to ask what was in the meeting. I hate to say it, but if I were you, I would consider the fact that nobody bothered to tell you a pretty good indication of your worth. No?
This is the worst day of my life. I even paid extra to have my wedding today so it was the same day as yours.
It's a mystery to me why you'd even want to do that in the first place.
Oh, this sucks. I want to crawl into a cave and die.
If you still intend to show your face at the office, I'd try and learn some basic manners. Common sense, too. And stop calling me Grandma. Got it?
You won't tell the boss, will you? He'll fire me. Please don't tell him.
If you really do value your job, then you'd better start making more use of yourself. If being young is your only attribute, then I'll fire you myself. And learn to show some respect. In the end, not a single guest showed up at Noeline's wedding. She was forced to cancel and hang her head in shame. The groom and his family basically chased her out of the chapel when they found out the reason. The groom's mother refused to let her son marry such a trivial and shallow woman. Looking back, he pretty much counts as lucky stars he avoided what would have probably been a troubled marriage. Noeline was left with a huge debt to pay for an empty venue. So even though quitting her job would have been the best option, she was forced to stay on. She goes about her work every day in humiliation without speaking to anyone unless absolutely necessary. She can't bear to look me or the president in the eye. She has learned how to say please and thank you, so I guess that's a start. Who knows? Maybe one day she'll work her way up to being a pleasant young woman. But by then, she'll probably be so old that the office girls call her Grandma.
Hey you, I heard that you closed another deal recently. Don't you think that you're getting a bit carried away?
Ralph, how are you? Yes, it's true that I just finalized another contract. Things have been going very well for me since I started working here. It's been such a smooth transition thanks to everyone's support. And no, there's absolutely no reason for me to get carried away.
Yeah, right. So what if you had the highest number of contracts closed this month? The bottom line is that you're just a woman, and you'll never measure up to the rest of us in the department. You were just a bit luckier than the rest of us this month. Don't think that you can go around bragging about your performance just because our manager happened to compliment your efforts. Besides, you've only been here a few months, so you can't do a man's share of the work even if you tried. If you're gonna be acting like some big shot for getting a few contracts, you should just stick to making coffee for the real business specialists here. All of your male colleagues could use a cup of coffee, or two.
That's extremely sexist of you. What do you think would happen if I report this sort of gender discrimination to HR?
Oh, be quiet. So what if you decide to report me? It's not like they can do anything about it. And who do you think you are talking to me like that? I'm your senior. Do what you want, but let me tell you now that you'll just regret it later.
Is that also a threat? Ralph, you really should stop saying things like that. Don't you have any shame? Just because you're my senior doesn't mean that you can get away with anything you want.
Oh, you poor woman. Do you really think that defying me like that will actually get you anywhere in this company? You must be missing some screws in your head or something.
You must think you can look down on me just because I'm a mid-career hire. I might be the newest one in this company, but don't forget that I have just as much experience as you in this industry. Or are you just acting that way because I'm a woman? I hope not, because gender discrimination is such a thing of the past.
You're really bossy, aren't you? That's why I can't stand women like you. You always have one too many things to say. And especially since I'm your senior, you have no right to talk to me like that. Don't be so full of yourself just because you closed the most contracts in our department this month. I'm sure it was just beginner's luck. Do you think that makes you so great all of a sudden?
Of course not. I don't think I'm any more distinguished than anyone here. But I worked really hard to get those contracts, so it was just the result of my efforts. It was definitely not because of luck.
Huh? But you don't think that makes you some kind of elite employee or anything, do you? It's pretty obvious that I'm more elite than you, so don't think that you can easily surpass my reputation.
I'm not so sure about that. I haven't heard of you getting any new contracts recently. Are you really being proactive towards your sales?
What? How dare you say such a thing?
My latest contract is worth $500,000, just to let you know. And if I remember correctly, you haven't gotten a single contract yet this month.
You know what? I just thought of a really great idea. I'm gonna take over your contract from now.
Excuse me? What are you talking about?
You heard me. Let me handle the contract from now, and I'll just take the credit for the whole thing. It's such a genius idea. I can't believe I never thought of it before now.
How can you even suggest such a ridiculous thing? That's absolutely impossible.
That's where you're wrong, because I can make it happen. It's exactly how I've built up my elite reputation here.
How can you proudly admit to such a terrible thing? What you've been doing is fraud. You better not try and play any games with me because you won't get away with it. I really hope that you're not serious about trying to steal my contract. There's nothing more unprofessional than that.
How many times do I have to remind you that I'm your senior? Your role is to listen and do exactly as I say. Besides, you were just lucky this time around. You're not going to be able to keep this up, believe me. Even regarding your latest contract, aren't you still in the negotiation phase?
Well, we haven't finalized the terms yet, but based on our latest meeting, it's pretty much a closed deal. So please don't try and mess anything up.
Don't be ridiculous. I only want to show you how a successful business discussion should look like, so let me take over the final negotiations with the client.
Excuse me?
There's no way that an inexperienced woman like you could lead such an important meeting. It'll be much better for our company if I'm involved in the negotiations. I'm certain that I'll be able to get them to accept our terms.
That's not the issue here. I've worked with this client for over a month until they finally agreed to sign the contract with us. Besides, it'll be impossible for you to take over the negotiations this late in the game. I really don't think that's a good idea.
Don't worry, anything that you can do, I can certainly do much better. You'll see.
You don't understand. It'll just cause a huge problem. I can't let you handle this.
Oh, be quiet. You just keep your mouth shut and watch me do my thing. I don't need your help whatsoever.
Have you been listening to anything I've said? I really hope that you're not serious about stealing this contract from me. You're better off putting some effort into getting your own contracts. Nothing good will come out of doing dishonest work.
So, the final negotiation for your latest contract is just one day away. It's one of our largest contracts this month. Are you prepared for the meeting?
Of course! I've dedicated most of my time this week in preparing the final presentation. I'm just going through the details now to make sure that nothing is missing.
How impressive. I knew that I could count on you to be our department's hope. I hope that you'll keep up your great work and continue contributing to this department. I'm looking forward to your further success.
Thank you very much. I'll do my best so that I'm able to meet your expectations.
Your proficient language skills really made a big difference this time. I'm sure that it will be an advantage to our department to have someone as capable as you. It's also a possibility that I'll be promoted to general manager depending on how the latest contract works out. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that the future of our department depends on your skills.
I'm quite confident that I'll be able to make a positive contribution here.
I'm glad to hear that, but I was a bit surprised to hear about Rolf this time. Is it true that he was the one leading the negotiations for your contract?
Excuse me? I don't understand what you mean.
He's already reported to me how everything went. I just didn't realize that he was involved in this contract to begin with.
I'm sorry to inform you, but Ralph has nothing to do with this contract whatsoever.
I was informed that he was going to be leading the final meeting tomorrow. Is that not the case?
As far as I'm concerned, no.
There must be some kind of misunderstanding in that case. Please make sure that you clear this up by tomorrow. We wouldn't want to lose a contract that's potentially worth $500,000 just because of some internal discord.
Of course, that'll never happen. There's a perfectly legitimate reason why Ralph is unable to lead this meeting. I promise that I'll deal with this matter thoroughly, so please don't worry about it. Ralph, this is your doing, isn't it? What were you thinking, locking me in the storage closet like this? Let me out right now!
Of course it was me. Why don't you just organize the documents in there or something, while I go finalize negotiations on my contract?
That's ridiculous. This is my contract and you know it. I can't believe that you would intentionally sabotage my work like this.
I'm not sabotaging anything. The contract is still here. It's just that having a more experienced senior like me take over this meeting would better benefit everyone involved. So leave the important discussions up to me, and you don't need to worry your little head about getting more clients. That's a man's job anyway. You can keep yourself busy with making coffee for the office, or organizing our filing system, or something.
Don't be ridiculous. This is my contract, and I was the one handling every aspect of this deal from the very beginning. It's unprofessional that I won't be present during our final meeting, and I'm certain that the client will be extremely uncomfortable dealing with someone with no connection to this contract. Please, you'll just end up making a mess out of everything I've worked on.
It's too late anyways. Even if you get out now, you'll never make it in time for the meeting. Don't worry, I have all the information that I need right here in the presentation that you prepared.
It doesn't matter that you have the presentation. Haven't you been listening to anything I've been saying? It's impossible for you to negotiate any terms with this particular client. It's starting to feel like a waste of time even trying to convince you otherwise.
Whatever, but let me tell you one last time. You're just a woman. If you think that you can be considered our equals, you're completely wrong. We're all elite men here, and we're definitely not of the same rank. Besides, you weren't even working here until a few months ago. There's no way that someone inexperienced like you could close off a deal that's worth $500,000. Like I said, let me handle the final negotiations, and you just stick to bringing the coffee.
Fine. In that case, I hope that you're proficient in Hungarian.
What?
If you're so adamant about taking over this contract, it means that you can lead the discussion in Hungarian, right? You do know that the client is from Hungary.
They're Hungarian?
Yes, why do you seem so surprised? Don't tell me that you were planning to go into this meeting without even knowing anything about the client. I see why your performance has been so terrible lately.
Well, there's nothing wrong with the client being Hungarian. I'm sure that they can also speak English. Otherwise, they wouldn't be so willing to sign the deal with us. It won't be a problem, right? I don't see the reason why this meeting has to be conducted in Hungarian. They must speak English to a certain degree.
That's exactly the sort of behavior that gets in the way of you getting ahead in your career.
Huh? How dare you say such a thing?
Well, the reason why we were able to connect with this company in the first place is because I reached out to them in Mandarin. We never had the opportunity to propose any offer to them before because of the language barrier. Of course, the client is able to communicate in English, but they do business all over the world. But by communicating with them in their native language, they understand our sincerity in wanting to do business with them. And of course, they felt more at ease that they could communicate in their mother tongue. So isn't it obvious that the final meeting with them should take place in Hungarian as well?
You're kidding, right?
I bet you're not feeling so elite right now after hearing all this, huh? You must feel nervous about going into that meeting, especially since you won't be able to even have a single conversation with the client. It's like you're going in there to dig your own grave.
Are you really sure that this meeting has to take place in Hungarian? That makes no sense.
You can't do it, right? Of course not. And I've been telling you from the beginning that you're incapable of handling this meeting. Unless you all of a sudden became fluent in Hungarian in the past few minutes.
Be quiet.
You see, you should have listened to what I've been saying all this time. But you went behind my back and even involved Philip in all this. How are you going to take responsibility if this meeting ends in a catastrophe? It would be your fault if all my work with this client goes to waste.
How come you're fluent in Hungarian in the first place? You were just hired like 2 months ago.
What difference does it make whether I was hired as a mid-career recruit or as a new college graduate? I have the skills and experience that this position requires. Besides, getting hired mid-career is a tougher process if you ask some people. So I'm sure that the managers were certain that I would make a positive contribution here before offering me the job.
What skills? You mean your ability to grovel at the manager's feet so they reluctantly have to take you in? Why don't you tell me exactly what it is that you think you can do?
Are you really that clueless? As a matter of fact, I'm completely fluent in 5 languages.
What?
I've heard you bragging that you speak Spanish fluently because you lived in South America for a few years. But the last time we had a video conference with our client in Argentina, you were completely silent the entire time. Are you really sure that you understand the language? Because it didn't seem like you even realized they were asking some questions at the end.
That's not true. That was just a network problem, and I couldn't hear what they were saying.
How is that possible? We were all connected to the same in-office network, so it wouldn't make sense that you were the only one having network issues. It's obvious that you have no idea what the client was saying, so stop trying to make excuses for yourself. Are you sure that you can really speak Spanish?
That has nothing to do with what's going on right now.
You're absolutely right. Because the meeting you're about to lead right now will be with our Hungarian client. It wouldn't be any use even if you were fluent in Spanish.
What am I supposed to do now? There's no way I can do this in Hungarian. What about the presentation materials? I can just refer to them, right? Or why don't I just have them look through everything themselves?
Just so you know, all the documents are in Hungarian. Are you even able to read any of it?
What?
If you're not even able to comprehend any of the materials, how are you planning on discussing anything with the clients? I hope you weren't just planning to hand out the documents and have them sign the contract. That's not how a business negotiation works.
This isn't how it was supposed to be. You better fix this right now.
And how exactly do you expect me to help you? You locked me inside the storage closet, remember? Perhaps you finally realize what a huge mistake you've made. If I'm not present for that meeting, I can assure you that the client is very likely to break off negotiations with us. And if we lose this contract, it would be a huge blow to our department, or rather, the entire company's reputation. I hope you know that it's all going to be your responsibility.
I'm not taking responsibility for anything.
But this is all because you let your ego get in the way. I can't believe how childish you're acting. You seem to think that there's nothing wrong with tricking someone as long as you benefit from their despair. That's why you're stuck in this dilemma right now. And besides, this isn't the first time you're doing something like this, right?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Are you sure? I know for a fact that this isn't the first time you're trying to take the credit for someone else's achievements. You've done this sort of thing repeatedly in the past. Perhaps since it was the only way to keep your performance from falling behind everyone else? Are you trying to imply that you can order people around just because you have seniority? Stop trying to fool yourself already. That's not how things work in a professional environment.
How do you even know about all that? It doesn't even have anything to do with you.
You're right. It's nothing that concerns me personally. But what if I decide to report this to our manager or to HR? What do you think will happen then?
What? You can't do that.
Do you want to know what I think will happen? Your so-called reputation as an elite employee will be ruined, and I'm sure you'll lose all possibility of any kind of promotion. Or perhaps you were never on your way for a promotion to begin with.
You have no idea what you're talking about. I'm one of the top consultants in this department. Of course I'm elite. Don't you dare try and make it seem otherwise.
If you claim to be such an elite consultant, why don't you do the work that's equivalent to that kind of status? As far as I can tell, you're just all talk and have nothing to prove your ability to get any work done. Stop trying to make up for your lack of skill with your overinflated ego.
It's not that I lack the skills. Just forget about all that and get over here right now. Stop wasting any more time. I'll let you sit in on this meeting as my assistant.
No thanks. I don't think I'll be joining you for that meeting. I have no intention of helping you whatsoever. Go ahead and make a fool of yourself in front of everyone for all I care. I'll at least wish you the best of luck in getting through that meeting in Hungarian. After that, Ralph ended up going into the meeting on his own and tried to get through it in English. But his lack of consideration not only caused the client to be offended, but they were so angered that they immediately canceled the meeting and kicked him out of the room. We soon received a call from the client specifically requesting that Sheila be the only one handling their negotiations. And they were very adamant about Ralph not being allowed anywhere near the contract. It didn't take long for everyone to find out that he was the culprit behind this incident, from locking Sheila inside the storage closet to lying about who should get the credit for this work. It wasn't a surprise that he was punished with a pay cut, and everyone in the department started giving him the cold shoulder before long. He became the laughingstock of the office and was a complete embarrassment both in and out of the office. On the other hand, Sheila was given a promotion for her accomplishments, whereas Ralph was ordered to work under my management. I hope that he's completely humiliated by this reversal of roles. I don't know how many employees he's bullied like this until now, but it makes me smile to know that all the new hires we had this year, including Sheila, have already been promoted to a higher position than him. He brought this all upon himself and absolutely deserves to be left behind like this. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click the like button and subscribe to see more content.
George, what do you mean you're getting married? Why didn't you tell me? Anyway, congratulations, bro. I knew you would do it eventually. Louis, thanks, brother. I did send you an invite, but it must have got lost in the mail. I'll check on that later. I could barely believe it when Mary told me. She seemed just as shocked as me about her little brother finally getting married. Neither of us has really wrapped our heads around it yet. Don't be too mean now. Good to see Mary hasn't changed. Of course I was gonna get married. I'm human too, you know? I can also fall in love. I don't know, man. None of us really took you for the kind of person to actually get married. I didn't even know you wanted to. I always did. I've always wanted to build a family of my own and be the man of a household. And part of that is giving my fiancé the perfect fairy tale wedding. Wow, I guess I read you completely wrong. My impression of you was totally wrong. I apologize. So, why didn't you get married sooner? You know, it's kinda late. You didn't just get desperate and agree to marry the first person that would have you, right?
Excuse me? I'm not so sure what you're hinting at.
Oh, George, come on now. You're almost 40. It's not normal to be single for that long. It's actually quite sad.
I'm only 34.
34 is practically 40. It took you this long to get married? God, George, don't you see the problem? Almost everyone else we know is married at this point.
What am I supposed to do about that? Build a time machine?
I'm not that stupid. I know you can't do that. I'm just saying that getting married to the first person who will have you just because you already have one foot in the grave won't make you happy. What's wrong with her anyway? Is she ugly, or is she like 50?
There is nothing wrong with her. She's 29 and she is absolutely beautiful. I know a lot of people do get married in their 20s, but I always knew that I wanted to save money before starting a family. That way I can make sure my wife and children have the best possible lives they could ever have. I don't think that's weird or a bad thing at all. A lot of my friends got married later on too, some even older than me.
I mean, I'm not surprised considering how you are. I bet all your friends are just like you, antisocial and aesthetically challenged.
Louis, don't you think you're being a bit rude right now? Was this conversation not supposed to be about me getting married?
Yeah, it is. I just can't believe you're finally getting married. How long have we known each other now? Me and Mary got married when she was 18. That was 20 years ago. When we were your age, we already had 4 children.
I know, and you never let me forget. I also remember that Mary had to drop out of college and you had to get 2 jobs so that you could look after the baby.
A woman doesn't need any fancy degrees. Women are supposed to be mothers. What good did a degree do you anyway? You got a PhD and you're only just getting married now? On top of that, I probably make even more money than you. Aren't you sad about that?
I don't really care. There are so many different people in the world. We all have our different callings. What's right for you might not be right for me, you know?
It's not about what's right, it's about what's normal. Most people are married by 25. But then there's you, nearly 40 and just finally getting around to it. If you're a woman, you'd be completely off the market by now. You'd be a crazy cat lady spinster. It is sad and I do feel bad for you, if I'm being honest.
I really don't care how you feel. You're wasting your energy feeling bad for me.
Do you not feel sorry for any children you have? By the time they're 20, you'll be in a care home. The fact you actually wanted to get married makes it even sadder.
This is a happy day for me. I'm happy. There is nothing to be sad about.
Whatever. I'm glad you finally got what you wanted. I hope you enjoy your married life. Just make sure you don't pass away before you can walk down the aisle, old man.
Hey George, how are you doing? I can't wait for the wedding. I can't believe it's next month already. Mom can't stop talking about it.
Yeah, next month, that's right. We're keeping it very private and simple, so organizing it has been very easy. So we've made all the arrangements a bit earlier than what's usually done.
That makes sense. Those big fancy weddings are for younger people with more stamina. It's a shame you're not having a proper wedding.
A proper wedding?
Hey, I'm not one to judge here. Well, you know how weddings are usually done, right? Usually the family has roles to play, but you haven't talked to us about anything.
Roles? What exactly are you talking about?
I kept waiting for you to call, but it never came, so I've saved you the trouble and contacted you myself. I am trying to save you as much trouble as I possibly can.
No, I really don't get it. You're gonna have to give me some hints as to what you're referring to. I really have no clue what you're talking about. Please, just come out and say it.
Do you really not know what I'm talking about? Are you forgetting one of the biggest rules of the wedding? I mean, are you really not going to have one of my girls as the ring bearer?
A ring bearer? Is that what this is all about? Yeah, I'm not so sure about that.
What? Don't tell me you forgot. Or do you just not know what a ring bearer is? I know you and your wife are getting old, but I didn't think you were already starting to lose your memory.
Stop being stupid, Mary. Of course I know what a ring bearer is.
Do you really? Well, explain it then.
It's the child who brings the ring up to the couple in the ceremony.
So you do know. What's your excuse for not messaging me about it then? You must be considering one of my children, right? Can you just not decide which one to give the role to? What about all of them? They could bring it down together.
I'm confused. Why do you think I'm going to ask one of your children to be the ring bearer?
Because I'm your sister, and my children are your nephews and nieces. Who else would you ask? Since I'm in a good mood and there is a special occasion, I'll forgive you for taking so long to ask me, but because it took you so long, none of my children have the right outfits. So I'll completely forgive you if you buy all their clothes for the wedding. Around $5,000 should be enough to cover it all.
Hold on a second. There is no way their clothes will cost that much. $5,000 is ridiculous. Not even my suit cost that much. And I'm not sure what exactly you're forgiving me for. I didn't do anything wrong.
I have 4 children, and I have to buy my own clothes as well. I know we're a family and all that, but at the end of the day, we'd still be lending you one of our children. I can't just give you my children's time for free. Time is money. There's always a price to pay.
Isn't your youngest only 4? And not to be mean, but her time shouldn't have a price on it yet. I'm really not sure about what to say about all of this. I think you sound crazy, Mary.
Wait, let me finish first. I don't think I'm asking for too much. They're going to need to be photographed or filmed, right? Between the clothes and the image and likeness rights, I'd say you won't find too many better deals than what we're giving you.
Look, I appreciate your offer, but we won't be in any need of a ring bearer. But I do appreciate the sentiment.
What do you mean you don't need a ring bearer? What kind of wedding would it be without a ring bearer?
Even if we did want a ring bearer, we just don't have that much money. It's a bit crazy to ask that much, to be honest. The wedding is important to us, but it's not the most important thing in our life right now. We just don't have the budget to put $5,000 into your pocket.
Fine. How about $3,000 instead? That's not as much, right? Their clothes won't be as nice, so your pictures will be disappointing, but that's your loss, not mine.
No, I wouldn't even give you $300, let alone $3,000. Actually, I was being serious about not having a ring bearer.
What is wrong with you? Do you hate your family? If you're going to be like that, then we just won't come at all.
Mary, did you not read the invite when you replied? We're having a child-free wedding. No children are allowed to come at all. We made that very clear. If we're not having any children in the wedding, then it doesn't matter if you're going to try lend as a boy or a girl. I did mention that it was supposed to be a simple affair after all. Do you get what I'm saying? No children and no ring bearer. Especially not if it's going to cost more than my own clothes.
What the hell does that mean? You're not letting us bring our babies? You're a horrible, horrible person!
It's for their own sake, Mary. What child wants to sit and listen to a priest talk for over an hour?
You're so selfish. And here I was trying to do you a favor and lend you one of our kids for the wedding. We definitely won't be coming to your wedding now.
You didn't read the invite at all then, did you? I literally did not even ask, and I've already explained why.
Fine then, have it your way.
I intend to.
I won't come, and I am going to tell the whole family not to come either. If you don't want your entire side of the wedding to be empty, apologize to me now.
Apologize for what? I haven't done anything wrong. Everyone else read the invite and knows it's child-free. It was that way from the start. We even arranged a babysitter for the hotel if people can't find cover. We just know kids won't enjoy the wedding. I definitely wouldn't have if I was a baby.
You are so selfish. How do you think my children will feel now I have to tell them their uncle hates them so much he won't let them go to his wedding? I've already told them they could go get some nice clothes and go.
If you're that desperate, they can come to the reception, but I don't think they'll enjoy being around all those drunk adults. It's an open bar, so people will probably drink a lot. And the menu my fiancé chose is full of food I know children won't eat.
What? You didn't even choose a menu my children can eat? I can't believe you. What did my children do to make you hate them?
Nothing at all. It's just our personal preference not to have children at our wedding. If you'd have actually read the invite, we could have talked about this earlier.
Don't try to blame this on me. You're going to regret this. Just you watch.
Hey bro, how's it going? Your wedding's today, right? Are you free now? I need to talk to you. Yeah, what do you need? I haven't got a lot of time, so please just keep it short. Yeah, don't worry about it. I really hate to spring this on you last minute, but we've decided that we actually want to go to your wedding. Oh, is that so? Yeah, I know it's pretty short notice. Mary's been really upset since you fell out, so I thought the best way to cheer her up would be to bring her to your wedding. Especially since it's an open bar. Who doesn't love a free drink, right? Right, yeah, I got it. I just want to make sure that you are made aware of that. We'll be there as soon as possible, so please just try and stall the wedding as long as you can. We're just about to set off now. If you'd hold up for one more thing. Did you ever even want to come? Do you really want to know that? You might not like it. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it? If you gave it a little thought, you'd actually know how I feel. It's just that it's a wedding for my brother-in-law. Going just seems to be a waste of time. Especially because he's an old man getting married to the first woman that would have him. You're saying that you don't see any point in attending? Well, yeah. The trouble of getting the 7 of us there in the first place makes my head spin just thinking about it. If we had our transportation costs covered, things would be different. And then on top of all of that, there won't even be any food there for the children after the ceremony. Just going is a waste of time and money. That's a pretty harsh way to frame going to your brother-in-law's wedding. Typically, people don't do a whole cost-benefit analysis over these things. The fact that we have to get you a gift too when we didn't ask you to get married? I hate to tell you this, but unlike a late bloomer like you, our household is full of children and we need every penny we have. We really just don't have anything to spare. Times are tough, I'm sure you understand. But my wife said you hate children or something. She sounded crazy when she said it, so I'm not really sure what she meant, but anyway, you won't mind if we come without a gift, right? Right. It really is quite the headache to manage the finances of a household with 5 children in it. But what can you do? They make every day quite a raucous adventure. Oh, I guess this must sound like I'm bragging to someone who just finally managed to get married. No, that's not what I was thinking at all. Oh, good then. At any rate, that's what I think. But I want to make my wife happy, so we're setting off now. Make sure you don't start without us. It's weird because the wedding was yesterday. What? So with regards to you all not showing up, I think that will be just fine. Most people didn't even notice you weren't there. So you got your wish in the end, anyway. Anyhow, I'm not really sure what all of that was about, so you can go back home now. What? I should be going. I have to start getting ready for our honeymoon. So if you'll excuse me. Hey, wait just a damn minute. What do you mean it was yesterday? It's exactly as it sounds. I'm pretty sure it said so on the invitation. I know Mary only read half of it, but I was sure she'd at least read the date. Wait a second. Oh, you're right. It was yesterday. Mary put the wrong day on the calendar. But since it seems that you didn't want to attend anyways, I'm not really sure what the problem is. Mary did say that she didn't want to come too. Either way you cut it, the end result is all the same. Now then, I do have to go. Wait, I'm not done yet. Even if the end result is all the same, it still matters how you go about it. You should have at least asked if she changed her mind. She's your sister. And what about it? Why would you have your wedding without your sister? We're family. Don't you think it's a bit rude? Whether it be friends or family, I made sure everyone who said they were coming a month ago knew what the date was. You guys were literally the only people who were invited that didn't come. I didn't remind Mary because I didn't want you to ruin my day. Ruin your day? Yes, referring to how you all conduct yourselves. Look, it's great that you have such a large family, but not a single one of you can behave yourselves. Oh, you're being ridiculous. I've been subjected to enough end-of-your-family gatherings to know how your family celebrates. The children can't be quiet and eat their food, and they don't apologize when they punch or kick others, and they throw a hissy fit at the drop of a hat when they don't get what they want. They're practically the dictionary definition of a monster family. They're children, that's how they all are. When you have children of your own, you'll understand how they really are. I don't have any, that's true, but our parents and relatives do, and everyone is fed up with how you lot conduct yourselves. Your children truly have no manners. And you and Mary do nothing to correct them. You just say they're only children, so we should just let them do what they want. Oh, so you're saying it's all my fault? If you don't share at least some of the blame, then whose fault is it? And it's not just our family who have pointed this out either. Multiple friends who are busy raising their own children have said as much as well. I've heard they're even avoiding you all because they're worried your kids might be a bad influence on their families. What friends? What are you talking about? I have a number of friends who also got married early and already have children. And, as it happens, their children are attending the same school as yours. They are? Yes, and whether it be around the neighborhood or at school, it seems that your children have garnered a reputation for being delinquents. Breaking things, throwing things, and injuring others are apparently daily occurrences. Even the teachers at school talk about them in terms of being problem children. We are raising them with a hands-off approach. We wouldn't want to be accused of being helicopter parents. So, while some of what people say about them may be true now, that's just a phase and I'm sure they'll grow up to be just fine. I don't want to impose on what is clearly a matter between you and Mary, and frankly, I don't even think that approach is necessarily wrong. But I have to strike a balance between my life and the chaotic elements in it, and that means a degree of distance between us. And in this instance, that meant not letting children at my wedding. I hope you'll understand. So that's it, is it? You think you can come up with some convoluted reason that justifies this? This is just awful, George. Do you know how embarrassing it is for us not to be at that wedding? Even if I hypothetically did remind you, it's just a waste of time and money, right? You said you didn't have any intention of attending either way. So I just don't see what it is that you're upset about. Again, I really must be going.
Hey, George. You're such a terrible brother.
Hey, can you please stop messaging me? Me and my wife are enjoying a really lovely dinner before we go on our honeymoon. We can have this conversation later.
I can't believe you had the wedding without me. I've been looking at all your friends' social media accounts all day. You had a huge feast and danced all night.
We did. It was so much fun. But I really am too busy to talk about it right now. I'll send you my pictures when we get back.
Don't you dare do that! If you could just see how mad I am at you right now.
Mad? About what?
First, it was about you not giving any of my kids a role in the wedding. But then in the end, you had someone else's child do it anyways? What happened to excluding children from the ceremony?
Oh, you're still caught up on that? Well, what happened is simple. I asked a friend and had her daughter fill the role, and she did a wonderful job, might I add. And I only meant that I wouldn't ask you. I never ruled out having one, period.
Quit it with the damn lies. You said you weren't having any children at your wedding. So you gave your friend the 2K instead of us? What? Did you just do it out of spite? And that was just a deal I was cutting for you. I bet you paid out even more than that in the end.
Where is this talk of money coming from? Today of all days, I wish you just dropped the talk of money. And I obviously didn't pay anyone anything. Most normal people volunteer to be ring bearers for free because they like the people getting married. I did have a little something prepared for her to give as a gift though, which seemed appropriate. And we originally planned not to have children, but I thought about it after I realized your children weren't coming. Your kids were the only ones I was really worried about.
I can't believe you talk about your own flesh and blood like that. If you're going to have a ring bearer, it's only right that you let a family member do it. And when they ask for a little money in return, you certainly don't lie to them just to save a buck.
The money wasn't even the main reason that I turned down your offer.
And what about that banquet? That's odd. You were the one that said that the food wouldn't be to our tastes.
I just said that we weren't doing anything formal. Again, it seems that you had somehow managed to misunderstand me. And since everyone was so kind as to attend, I did think it was appropriate to have a little something prepared for them.
Anyway, we need you to hold the whole wedding all over again. And, as an apology, you should give us money so we can get clothes. Do you know how short notice this is?
What on earth are you talking about? Why would we have the wedding again? It was perfect, partly because you weren't there.
Why? It's my right, is it not? I am the older sister of the groom. I have a right to attend the wedding. It makes no sense for me and my family not to be there.
Where is this coming from? You were the one who said that you had no interest in attending in the first place. You went on and on about how I was going to regret this. In the end, I only regret inviting you in the first place.
This isn't about what you want, and it doesn't matter how it makes you feel. This is about what's right, and I intend to make things right once and for all. I trust my presence alone will serve in place of any obligatory gifts. So there you have it. It's settled. Prepare to redo the whole ceremony, and we will be in need of a table and food.
Whatever, I'm over putting up with this. Do whatever you want. George, what is this? Let us in. Why aren't they letting us in? There must be some kind of mistake because the staff here won't let us into the wedding. What? There isn't any wedding. Of course there is. Mary said that you were going to hold another ceremony so we could join. And there's clearly an event going on right now. So tell these people to let us in. Tell them that we're part of the family of the groom. And tell them that we rushed over to celebrate the wedding. I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm at the airport right now. You're trying to crash someone else's wedding. You should go home before they call the police. But it says the groom's name is George. That's your name. There's a lot of people called George. It's not an unusual name. It's probably just a coincidence. Now hurry up and go home. You're probably embarrassing yourself. Why are you being so horrible to us? What did we do to deserve this? It was a long trip to get here, and we did it all to celebrate you. I already told you the wedding was over. I have no clue why you think we could even arrange a second one in 2 hours. What the hell has gotten into you? Is that how you treat someone who's traveled such a long way for your sake? Are you really gonna give the cold shoulder to your family who just wants to celebrate your wedding? Do you have any idea the amount of bad karma you're bringing upon yourself? If you want to talk about bad karma, I think you should be the one who's worrying, Louis. And you talk as if we're still family, but I'm not so sure about that anymore. Huh? We're still family as long as I'm married to Mary. And that is exactly what I mean, Louis. You and Mary are divorced, aren't you? Divorced? Where did you hear that? That's not quite right. It wasn't just a divorce, was it? You two were actually just faking being divorced so that you could benefit from government child support. That is quite the accusation. Well, it would be quite the crime if it was true. But legally speaking, your fake divorce is the same as a legal divorce, is it not? So, officially, you aren't my sister's husband, Louis, which means you also aren't family. What the heck are you talking about? A fake divorce? That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I don't know where you heard such a strange rumor or if you just made it up, but I would be careful with confronting people like this on such shaky grounds. There is no point in trying to hide it. I already know all the juicy details. Huh? That friend of mine whose child goes to the same school as yours, yeah, she's here today and she told me everything. And apparently they saw that you were coming to crash the party. She texted me asking, why's your sister and her ex-husband showing up together? Mary's one thing, but what business does Louis have coming? There's no way that happened. And that was when I heard all about this supposed divorce of yours. Apparently, the rumor going around the school is that you cheated on Mary and then you two got divorced. Also, she's apparently raising the 5 children all by herself with nothing but government assistance supporting her. Isn't that just tragic? Well... So, after hearing all of that from her, I'm lost on what could possibly explain everything. Because I know for a fact that the two of you are still living together and have always acted as if you were still together in front of me. I can explain. And today you're trying to attend my wedding as a family? If this isn't a fake divorce, what exactly is it? Wait, please. I get it, we'll go home. Us and the kids. So, let's forget about this conversation altogether. Forget about it meaning? Meaning just that, we forget it and pretend like nothing happened. So don't tell anyone about this. That's not a promise that I can make, Louis. I'll be reporting this to the appropriate authorities at a later date. Wait, you can't do that to us, please. Anything but that. We really are at the end of the line financially. We'll be ruined if you turn us in. We need this to keep the 7 of us alive. We'll leave right now. Just don't snitch on us to the authorities. No can do. Why? Anyway, I called the venue and they said they were going to call the police for trespassing. You should start running before you get locked up for that and fraud. Louis, Mary, and their family finally left after trying to barge in on whatever wedding was being held at the venue that day. I apologized to the couple later, but they thought the story was really funny. I actually got along very well with the other George, and we're going golfing together soon. I then did my civic duty and reported their fraudulent activities to the authorities. Apparently, they're being investigated for defrauding social welfare programs by the local district attorney. It's only a matter of time until they're found guilty and forced to repay what they stole. That, paired with the charges of trespassing and harassing the wedding staff, means they're in pretty hot water right now. Their example will hopefully serve as a valuable lesson for their children on how not to behave when they grow up. My wife and I, on the other hand, had a great honeymoon. We traveled all around Europe and had so much fun. And soon, we'll be having a child of our own. I would be scared they'd turn out like my nieces and nephews, but my wife is too lovely to let that happen. I can't wait to meet our new baby soon. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. See you in the next one.